Yo, what's up guys, Mike Mammy here, and today I'm gonna show you how I made my track of WarpSpace, which is out now on House District Records, or HDR. I'm super happy to share, this project with you and to show you how I made it. Also, huge thanks for the HDR team for believing in this track and signing it. I'm super happy to release it there, and yeah, for this one to be my debut at the label. Now, a quick backstory of the track. It was probably like, this is a super old idea, but yeah, I think it was like December or something when I decided to finish it. I think it's a bit older, and I only had like from the original project, I only had like the break chords and the original like first break melody. And yeah, that was literally it. And then it sat there for like 1 year or something, and then I found it, and I was super inspired by that, by the sound selection and everything. So yeah, I decided to finish it then. Now, I think we should probably start with the drop. This track is like, in my opinion, really unique in terms of the sound design I used, which is like, a combination of my signature sound as well as something that is like super spacey, wide, and really unique. So yeah, let's start here. So sorry for the project, since it was done a while back. Like what, like 6 months ago. I didn't have the time to organize it because it was literally done in 10 hours. The whole track, I literally one night I just sat down and was like, okay, I need to finish this tonight. And yeah, and that how the track came through. So yeah, let's start with the drop. So, or sorry, let's rather start with the first breakdown, because it sparked the whole track idea. So I had this Omnisphere patch here. I'm so sorry. So I had this Omnisphere patch here. It's like a really wide, like sawish lush pad, which I used to make this insanely simple and generic chord progression. But yeah, it kind of worked. So as probably many of you may know, I used the exact same chord progression for countless tracks. I can't even like count them on my fingers. But yeah, and I also used this. This was the other sound I added originally, like a few years back, and I really love this sound. Sorry, the filter is opening here, so let me find it and solo it for you. I feel like not many people talk about the arrangement in Big Room because it's insanely important. I can't describe how much important it is, to make your arrangements fit your track, because like sometimes you're like, for example, for this arrangement, I felt it was really cool to introduce the track and everything in this way, because it's like super open, super spacey, super, like it has a huge ambience, which is like really important. And yeah, when I play the first break, it has a really cool and like spacey vibe, and that's why I called. I'm gonna later I'm gonna talk about why I named the track WarpSpace and everything, and how I made the pre-draw vocals and whatnot. But yeah, but I added that pad and I added that lead, and I was like, okay, this is really sick. It's super simple, but yeah, I just feel like it has like a really cool vibe. After that, I added another pad. Same old progression, you know, just fill up the space. And as you can hear, that other pad is a bit more, you know, centered in the mix. So when you layer that with the other pad, it kind of makes sense. And yeah, and then I added the WarpSpace to the break, like a super heavy WarpSpace. And then after that, I felt like, you know, it didn't have enough movement. It was kind of too static and everything. So I added this. And I'm gonna show you how I made it. So it's like it's a basic Omnisphere patch, just one node. But then when you put it on a mixer and add a gross beat to it, I added a saw gate to it and kind of messed with the attack and the release of it. I got this, and then, you know, when you pair that, you know, with, it has so much more movement than this. So yeah, try to add, like, you know, those elements. It's pretty common in this genre of music to do something like that. And after that, I added probably my favorite sound of this project, and also, you know, the best sample I've heard in a while. It's this vocal chop thing, or vocal pad or something. It's so good. Like when you pair that, you know, there's some you know, ambient things. This one is also really cool and really fits with this one. And yeah, like nothing too crazy, just, you know, a couple of effects, you know, a couple of VSTs, and that's pretty much it. Like, I didn't show you the mixing, as I rarely do, because, or sorry, the mixer chain, as I rarely do, because, yeah, like my mixing is so simple and so straightforward. Like, you know, there's just some, you know, EQing on the pad 1, then the pad 2, also some EQing, and yeah, the levels are there, like pretty important. And yeah, for the chop thing, I don't even know where I can find it. Yeah, it's here, just some EQ, and yeah, that's literally it. Like, I only, you know, if the sound is good enough, why destroy it and why add like so much things to it? It kind of doesn't make sense. You know, just some EQing and leveling and it's good to go. And yeah, and that's pretty much it for the breakdown. I also added like these percussion sounds from Kashmir. And I cut them like here, because I didn't want them to play for too long and interfere with my bass line. So it added some additional movement, and then I used this ARP loop from it's from Jackson Vega Pack, I think. It just fitted well, and I didn't want to, you know, I was too lazy to add my own, to be completely honest, because I was like speed running this track, literally. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the breakdown, for the first breakdown. Now, the build-up is insanely simple. I won't even show it to you. Just some, you know, couple of effects and a few percussion sounds. Okay, so we have the pre-drop fill, which is pretty interesting. This... It sounds insanely weird, but what I did, this is a really cool trick I think you guys should try out. I literally went on Google and typed text-to-speech generator, and then literally typed in WarpSpace, and I got this. Give me a sec.
The WarpSpace.
I think it's a bit pitched, yeah. So it's a bit pitched,
the WarpSpace.
But I literally got that and then like put a bunch of effects on it. I'm gonna walk you through them.
The WarpSpace.
And got this, and it was insanely cool. And yeah, I just decided to use it, and I put in the, you know, the name WarpSpace, because Yeah, I just literally, I was, back in the day, I was obsessed with playing Warhammer 40K. I don't know if you know that video game. It's like a real-time strategy game, and yeah, it has to do something with that game. I can't even remember something like that. So yeah, it was just really cool, and also the track had like a really spacey vibe to it. So I decided to use that name. As for the effects for this one. I used a manipulator from Infected Mushroom and Polyverse. I think it's an insane plugin for your vocals. You can do whatever you want with it, to be honest. I just put some lower deformance of the vocal just to make it a bit more deep. Also after that, I used like this cut in the EQ just because the high end was a bit too harsh, and also I didn't want that like super low end. After that, I used this really cool plugin. I think I already showed it a couple of times, but yeah, it's free. So download it if you want. It's called Pitch Proof by AGN Music. And what it does, it basically, when you put it on, it creates like a copy of your vocal, and then you can decide if you want to put it or in mono or stereo. You pick the key of the track, and then you can put all of these like harmonies on top of your original vocal. And yeah, and also you can, if you want like to put the copy of the vocal one semitone up, you just go +1 or -1 or however you like. And yeah, I thought that was really cool. To give some space to the vocal. You can't hear it here quite much, but in the breakdown you can really hear it. And yeah, and after that I added a bit more EQing. I don't know why I boosted this, because I cut it in the previous EQ, but yeah, whatever. And then I used like the glue compressor just to kind of compress it a little bit, because it was all over the place, as you can see by the wave format. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like for the pre-job, there's some drum fills. I don't know where I found these, but yeah, they kind of fitted, so yeah, I put them in. And then we come to the drop, which is not probably but literally the most interesting part of the track, because various different things, in my opinion at least. So yeah, I'm gonna start with the kick. As you can hear, the sub is really deep. Like, you can only hear the sub frequencies of it. I just used a Fab Filter Saturn to just kind of saturate it a little bit, because it was kind of too low, to be honest. Yeah, and then I used this EQ to cut this frequency. It was annoying me for some reason, and then but yeah, that didn't even make sense, because I bricked walled everything below 126. And why I did that, because the leads and the stabs were so big that literally I didn't want to use the how do you say it? I didn't want to use the bass and the low mid frequencies from the original kick, because yeah, it was really interfering with my leads, because they were so big. And if I cut the leads, then they weren't sounding so epic and big and and lush and everything. So I just decided to do this technique. It's you don't have to cut the leads always at the same frequency. Always experiment and use your ears and do what makes sense for the track. That's like so important, and not many people do it. When people send me some tracks for feedback, they always ask me the same things, and I'm gonna explain. Finally, I'm gonna explain all of those things in this video, because people aren't using their ears and just default low cut and whatnot. But yeah, just try to use your ears as much as possible. That sounds like really dumb, but actually it's really helpful. So yeah, the kick, as you may know, it's this like sub is from a Sabers pack, because a lot of people may know back then I was obsessed with using Saber samples. I don't do it anymore because they're quite overused, and I also use this Kevo kick, which sounded really nice. That's literally the whole kick, like one kick, one punchy layer, and then the sub bass. And yeah, and then after that I added this crowd loop, and a white noise effect, and yeah, I'm gonna jump straight into the lead pattern. As you can hear, there is something weird happening in the low mid range, but I don't know what is happening there. But when I render the track, it sounds it's all fine, so I don't know why it's causing that. But yeah, bear with me for this one. So what I did here, the idea started by, you know, making these chord stabs, which are like probably quite familiar to my fans and audience. But yeah, this is the Mike Miami Super, so I'm gonna finally share it with you because I never showed it before. So feel free to copy this as much as you want. I don't care anymore, to be honest. Yeah, I kind of overused it, but yeah, this is like my main signature super saw that I used. You know, that's like my main layer always. Yeah, I made these chord stabs with it, and then I added another layer. And another one. For some reason this one sounds like it's phasing a bit, I don't know why. And then a mono layer. And yeah, and then after that I was like, I need to have something, you know, that like makes a response to it. So if this is a call, then the next sound is gonna be a response. And yeah, it's I always, you know, tell people who send me music that they should, like, if they want to make their sound a bit more interesting and not so generic, I always, the first thing I say is make like a call and response melody, and that's what I did here. This is so sick in my opinion, like these leads. Yeah, it just fitted so well with the previous layers, because the previous layers are just, you know, huge fucking super saws, and they're just like straight in your face and everything, and then this one comes in, it's like it's just super wild. And yeah, the layers here are quite important, because if I didn't have this layer, it would have been like really generic. As for the mixing, as always, here are the layers, just some EQing, some more EQing, some more EQing, some, you know, adjusting the levels, and then routing it to the bus. As you probably may know, this is like the holy Mike Miami chain. So I have Camel Crusher here with a British clean preset. I have OTT. I have the glue compressor again. I have some more EQing, and a sidechain plugin. And I routed it to the reverb bus. This was I think the first project I used this reverb technique for, which I already showed in my previous masterclass video. So yeah, feel free to check it out. It's on Next Chapter's YouTube channel. But yeah, anyways, the reverb probably could have sounded better, but since this was like the first time of me using it, I think it sounds good enough. And I already showed the technique in that other video, how you make that reverb. So after that, yeah, I didn't show you the mixing of the super saws. But yeah, just some EQs, some more EQs, a stereo control, but I don't know, to be honest, why I even, you know, put it there, because it was already insanely wide, so I probably wouldn't advise that anymore, to be honest. Some more EQs, and, you know, that's literally just EQs, and then route everything to the bus, which is processing everything, you know, making it super fat. If I play you everything without the bus effects, it would sound like this. It's just laughably bad, and then when you put the effects back on. And then the next sound comes in, which is my favorite sound of the track. It's this one. This is a super unique and cool trick I'm gonna show you right now. So if you delete these notes, firstly you can see that all the notes are gliding, you know, to the next one, which is kind of cool. But if you play it without these small glide notes, it sounds like this, which is like it's good, but it's like super boring compared to this. Oh my god, which is yeah, super boring compared to this. And yeah, I use it in a lot of my tracks right now because I just think it's the best thing you can do with your leads. It just, you know, creates so much movement and so much like these small pitch bends create so much movement. And yeah, that's also one big advice I can give you. Try to experiment with these things. You know, I could have put like more. And as you can hear, it also sounds like really cool. But yeah, I just went for like a cleaner route to it. Yeah, that's the first layer, which is probably the coolest layer ever. Sorry, just let me do this. And then the next layer is the same old saw, trans saw. And for the mixing, just some EQs. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, it was just, you know, building from that, you know, just, you know, changing the melodies a little bit and everything. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I also didn't show you the stab, which is really fat, but then I layered it with this stab. I'm sorry. With this stab. Which is kind of messy, but yeah, it just worked for making it a bit fat. And then this sound. I'm sure you know this sound from all of my tracks. I think I stole it from Codex or something. But yeah, it's there to make this like cool effect. And also this crash. And yeah, that's it for the drop. So when you play the drop. And I also have these reverb automations, you know, just to make it like to make this cool effect where it, you know, goes from one note to the other one. To be completely honest, you probably can't notice it that much. But it's there. It creates, you know, some movement to the drop as well. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole drop. There's some percussion coming in. And yeah, I think that's it for the drop, to be honest. Yeah, and I also have this. This is like a midway fill. And as you can see, I also used this technique. It's, you know, creating these like small choppy notes that go from, you know, from the second note of the key to the third one, which creates this really unique sound to it. And I used it in pretty much all of my tracks. And yeah, when you play the drop, I'm gonna play it now. Super simple stuff, to be honest, like in terms of the mixing and in terms of the like the main like complex part of this is, you know, just figuring out the melodies and you know, the whole like structure of the drop, the call and the response, and then after that is just, you know, just innovating on it. Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much it for the drop. And I also, sorry, it's not, I also used this chord fills and also here. And yeah, that's the drop. So so yeah, I was super happy with the result and I just kept going from there. And this is the second breakdown. So also the same vocal chop as before. Also this sound. This is a new addition to the break. So like choir, not a choir, but like, you know, a female voice, I guess. And then this, I don't know what this is to be. Oh yeah, it's a guitar. It's just there to fill up the space in this part because, yeah, I just love adding, you know, like something that will I love to keep evolving my breakdowns and my drops like every 4 to 8 bars, I guess. Yeah, it just keeps things more interesting, and this guitar gives it a, you know, a bit more life here. I'm gonna play it later. Yeah, the same old pads. And also this lead sound, it's different one compared to the first one. And it plays the parts of the break melody. And yeah, some claps are here that are filtering, that have an automation for the filter. This Reese bass, again this ambient sound, this, and then these like chord blocks that just play this simple rhythm and follow the chords. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the first part of the break. And here you can hear that guitar. And then the next part is super interesting because I'm introducing the lead from the first break again, but only the first 2 notes. And they're filtered. And then why I did that, because there was this gap in the vocal and I wanted to fill it in, but I didn't want to use this sound. I wanted to, like, you know, glue everything together, basically the first and the second break and the first drop and everything. so yeah, that's pretty much it. I also reused these drums from the first break, and yeah, I pretty much reused everything. And then I added this vocal. This is also from a typewriter. Sorry, from a text-to-speech generator, and I'm gonna play it on its own. Whoops.
WarpSpace.
Maybe I'm not. Give me a sec. Okay.
WarpSpace is a mirror dimension of pure energy, existing as a mirror to our own reality, the Materium. It is the domain of the gods of chaos. Welcome to the WarpSpace.
Yeah, so it's insanely weird, insanely unique, and I found that text while I was looking through, I think it was Wikipedia or something, and yeah, I just stumbled upon that text, literally just copied and pasted into the text generator, and I think the effects are actually different. So firstly, I messed with manipulator with the harmonics knob and with this alternator knob. Then I added some EQ to make it a bit more bearable for your ears. I also used this, and I used the wrong key, but I don't think it matters to be honest. Yeah, I'm an idiot, but yeah, I should put E minor and not E major, but whatever. It sounded good, and then I put it to stereo because I wanted, you know, those harmonics to be in stereo, obviously, and not get in the way of my main vocal. And I added an OTT, added some more EQs, which looked disgusting, but yeah, it was just clearing the resonances. Then again the glue compressor, and then some more EQs to boost this part because that like gave it a bit more air.
WarpSpace is a mirror.
Yeah, I decided to boost it there, and yeah, that's pretty much it for this part. Like that's the main like addition to this part.
The domain of the gods of chaos. Welcome to the WarpSpace.
Sorry. As for the breakdown, this is like insanely simple stuff. It's just like a basic melody. The interesting part here is that the sounds have like a pretty long release. So when you play them, it makes it a bit more open and lush and kind of, you know, like they have like a really long tail to it, and makes the ambience a bit more present here. Because if I, you know, use them choppy like I normally do, then it wouldn't sound like, you know, it would sound kind of weird, to be honest. So I decided to up the release on every single sound. Also, there are these chords, which also have like a pretty long release. And yeah, the reason why the break is so simple is because I didn't want to overkill that part as well, because the drops were kind of overkill in the concept, you know, in the core concept. So I just wanted to make something that is like pretty easy to follow, because the drops definitely weren't. Yeah, the drops were kind of all over the place, so I just wanted to make something really simple for the break. And yeah, and also this arrangement is, you know, pretty simple on its own, but every single thing here has a purpose, which is really, really, really important. I feel like if you just, you know, jam some sounds in and hope for the best, it probably won't sound good, because every single sound you put in must have a specific purpose to fill the specific frequency range, the stereo field, the you know, the mix, the I don't know, the fill or anything. It needs to have a specific purpose. So everything here is, you know, insanely simple, because, you know, it just fits the purpose. I could have added like a bunch more things here, but yeah, I decided not to and just leave it super simple. And yeah, and it kind of worked out. So the next part, I introduced these brass sustains, the snares, the Reese bass, and this downlifter, this and that, and yeah, I just wanted to make some tension after the break. I feel like this is a really cool part, because here everything kind of, you know, fades away from the previous parts of the breakdown. It just stays on one chord, the root, I think. Yeah, the root note. And yeah, just it kind of builds suspension and everything, and, you know, really makes it full of tension. And yeah, and then you hear this sound, which is a mid-fill sound from the drop, and it plays this. And then after that, also a really cool thing I did here is this is that sound, and these are the drop sounds, which together sound like a one cohesive thing, one cohesive fill, which is, you know, kind of cool. And also the drop melody goes from left to right, pans from left to right, just, you know, for some movement and stuff. And also here I, you know, change chords. It finally goes, you know, from staying on the root to kind of relieving the tension and everything. And then it straight goes to the buildup, which is the same as before. Now for the second pre-drop fill.
Welcome to the WarpSpace.
I'm gonna show you how I did this. So
Welcome to the WarpSpace. Welcome.
So it's on the same channel.
To the WarpSpace.
So here you can finally hear that manipulator thingy I already showed you. It's on this part.
WarpSpace. WarpSpace.
and you can see it sounds, you can hear it sounds like really glitched and really, you know, how would you say it, like really glitchy, which is what I wanted. I didn't want the pre-drop fill to stay on the same note, or the same sound, you know, throughout these 4 beats, because yeah, like the whole track is kind of, for me, sounds like it's evolving constantly, and then I wanted to make the vocal evolve as well.
Welcome to the WarpSpace.
And yeah, basically I did that with this manipulator preset, or I made that preset, but yeah, you get the point. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this part. And then the second drop, it's basically the same as the first one in terms of all the sounds, but I kind of changed something. So firstly, I added these Psy basses. This first one is from Kashmir because, as I said, I was too lazy. I literally finished this in 10 hours. And yeah, it sounded good. And this is my Psy bass from my track The Hand of God, which I made myself. And then I just, you know, rendered it and put it in as a stem. Yeah, it sounds really fat. I used it there just to have some more movement in the drop because I kind of changed the concept of it. For the first part, I made the chord super saw stabs a bit longer. And everything is, you know, it's pretty much the same, but then I changed the melodies a bit, you know, to for the first part to make it a bit more, you know, intense and everything, and then the second part to have like this response. And how would you say it? I'm too bad of explaining this, but basically I made this second part to relieve some more, even more tension that was created by the first part, if that makes sense. And this is also really cool. I think it's the same sound from before. Yeah, it's the same sound from before, but I just, you know, chopped it a little bit and made it like kind of dark sounding. You know, it really fills this part here very nicely and creates some variation in the drop. And this was literally the same as this part I showed you before. It's just, you know, it's going down instead of up, which was kind of cool. And then I put it like 2 octaves up, or 1 octave up, because I really love the sound there. And as you can hear here, it obviously ends on the root note. I talked many times before is how if you don't finish your song on the root note, it just doesn't feel finished, I guess, and on the root chord, which is also what I did here. And yeah, it just sounds like it ended, you know, you feel very like satisfied and rewarded for, you know, waiting this long. But yeah, that's basically the whole track. Like, I know this is a bit longer of a walkthrough, but yeah, I kind of showed everything. Like, you know, making a like this type of track isn't that, you know, hard and complex. In terms of the mixing, I guess the idea is really important, and also using the right sounds is probably the most important thing, because if you use the right sounds, you won't have like a big difficulty of mixing everything, because as you already saw in my mixer, Like there is nothing, literally nothing besides distortion, a lot of EQing, compression, and reverb probably. And I think that's like the four main things. I don't use any crazy plugins, anything like that is like, oh my god, where do you find it? Because I don't think it's necessary. I feel like if you have like if you find a cool sound and you know what to do with it, and it fits the purpose of, you know, the of putting it in, yeah, you will find a lot of success with with mixing those like complementary sounds and everything. And as you could see, like probably the best tip I can give you is like when you're leveling, try to find one sound that is like really dominant. So for example, in the drop, the kick must be the loudest part. The leads can be sometimes, but yeah, but the kick, you should probably level everything around the kick. For the breakdowns, you should probably level everything around the, you know, the like the main element. So for example, like in this part, it was this lead. For the super saw break, you should level everything around like one lead layer that is, you know, the most important one in the whole chain. And yeah, like the leveling is insanely important, because if you don't level your sounds correctly, but your, you know, EQs are good and everything, like it still won't sound like super polished and clean. It's probably like it's even more important than making your leads or sounds or anything sound fat. Because like you can make it sound like insanely compressed, insanely distorted, fat and everything, but then you can have like one layer that is above all of the rest, that is like overpowering the mix, and then you kind of ruin the whole mix, and yeah, that kind of stuff. So try to use a lot of reference tracks. I know like everyone says this, but I never used it, but I still tell people to do that, because I always like the hard way of doing it, because I always, you know, I never use the reference tracks, and I was always just, you know, try to figure tweaking stuff on my own, and I wanted to train my ears to the point where I don't even have to look at, you know, all of these like frequency analyzers or stuff to know what I'm listening to. And yeah, but if you want like an easier way of doing it, just use a lot of reference tracks and you'll find success with your mixing. So yeah, I hope you found this helpful. I'm sorry I'm talking this much, but yeah, I had a lot of fun with filming this, and yeah, one more time, a huge shout out to the HDR fam. I love you guys, and I also a huge shout out to all of you who made it this far. Subscribe to HDR's YouTube channel, and also follow me on Instagram, follow them on Instagram and everything, and let me know in the comments how did you like this track. If you have any suggestions or any questions or anything, feel free to ask me. As you may know, I always reply. So yeah, I think this is it. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thanks everyone for watching and supporting me, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.